I think we are at the point in life where we can be honest about Judy Greer. And that if you see her, you have to treat her as if she is Lowry seasoning, right? And you making a good meal, and then you put some of that Lowry's in there, that bad boy slaps. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. I've been waiting for this movie for a bit. The second I saw the trailer, the concept, I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this. I do want to preface this. In light of what's happening in the world today, I can very much understand if people are not wanting to see this film right now. They may want to take a pause on this flick. I will say this: if you are watching this review, you are fine seeing The Long Walk. You know what The Long Walk is, and we can have an open discussion about it without bringing up any of the things that are happening in the real world. So The Long Walk is a film based on a book, short story from Stephen King, aka Richard Bachman. I have never read The Long Walk, but I was very familiar with Bachman King's The Running Man, which did not realize how much of a similarity there is between the two stories, and that there is a sort of dystopian world that exists, and in that dystopian world, a game is created to get people out of an impoverished position to giving them some sort of hope and dream and a key for achievement in a game that is watched by the masses. They both have that in very similar fashion. Running Man gets more sci-fi-ish and is a little bit bigger, whereas this is a lot more streamlined and a lot more singularly focused. It reminds me a lot of the play, and I'm getting to theater world, but it reminds me of the play of Mice and Men, where it is taking a story about men and just seeing the different walks and variations of men from whatever walks of life and putting them together on this path, and then sort of having them talk it out, go through peril, and figure out who they are on the other side of it. And it becomes tragic, it becomes sad. This is a thriller. And so while it has sort of kind of been arched and put as a horror movie, it's a dramatic thriller, dystopian thriller, if you will. There is violence, a lot. You see people getting shot, heads blown off. It is gory, but that is more of an accent to the drama, which is the sort of the centerpiece of this. Cooper Hoffman plays Garrity, and David Jonsson plays Peter. McFreeze is Freeze is what he sort of goes by. And they are, I would say, co-leads. I know because of the character of Judy Greer and playing Garrity's mom, he would be the lead because of the way that everything is sort of positioned in the film. But I would say that they kind of act as co-leads, and they get you in dramatically hook, line, and sinker. So The Long Walk story acts like this. It's a dystopian world, dystopian time where there is no real sense of where this takes place in the timeline of America. But I think that's irrelevant. It can take place now, it can take place in the past, but basically a war has occurred and everybody's kind of impoverished, living check to check, having poor means, and the government has sort of put their thumb on the country. And to rules are in place. You can't watch or think about things of the past. And in that, a game is created. It's called A Long Walk. I think it's the 5th year of The Long Walk. A Long Walk is created, and you have to spend. Group of men come together. They sort of position themselves to be a part of this. They have to enter into this contest, which is something that comes up later. They have to enter into this contest, and then they have to walk 3 miles per hour in this movie. In the book, I think it was 4 miles per hour. They have to walk until there's only one man left. So if it starts with 40, they have to walk till there's one man left, and there's one person, whoever it is, wins this prize and a wish. Basically, they get granted anything that they sort of desire. But these folks, if they don't make it by disease, sickness, just mental capacity, they're then get their tickets punched and they are shot and killed on sight. It's brutal. but it's so heart-wrenching, and into it you get to see what it is that a person will go through to sort of make a better means of themselves. And this, the book, the story, all sort of say that the government kind of has us in this rat race, this loop, and that did they have a choice to not be in this contest, or is this the only end goal? They big this up so much that this is the end goal, and this is what we were all sort of going to end up here. And there is really no prize. They're just having us kind of go through this for their entertainment. And you get to see these bonds broken. The group that sort of comes up as the Musketeers are fantastic, but you get sort of small beats from a lot of character actors that you know, and from other things here. I think the biggest for me was Roman Griffith Davis, who was in Jojo Rabbit, which I loved. Um, it's a great piece that sort of kicks the movie off. And so you just started seeing and get connected to all these people, and you know, it's funny because as a viewer, you know, I'm getting connected to these people and they're not all going to be here. And then as a race person, these folks also know that, yeah, I'm creating these bonds, these friendships, but the goal is for these folks, I need them to go away. I need them to die. But at what cost? Like, you start getting so close to these folks, and you start learning about their hopes and their dreams and their desires, and how they, what brought them to this, and your empathy for them starts growing. And so when people start perishing, there's varying levels of like, as an audience member, like, crap, not him, not him next. And you then get to a point where it does get a little bit, you know, the writings on the wall, you know, it's going to come down to your big twos, Cooper, not Cooper, Garrity and Freeze. You know, it's going to come down to the two of them, but that's okay. The walk, the story, the piece to get to that point and how it all sort of plays out is worth the price of admission. And the effect that each other's story and heart and in their friendship has on each other makes people do decisions that, you wouldn't have done that had you never met this person. But now that you have, your insight, your model, your mode of apparatus has changed. And that is fascinating to see what effect people can have on each other in peril. Like, these people are put through the rigors. That rain, sleet, snow, no sleep, very minimal food, crapping on each other. You're put through pure hell, and you see these boys, these men, kind of go through this, and it is probably for me, one of the best King adaptations that I've seen put to screen. There's some changes, I think, just because of how it would come across in the film. My understanding, because I, like, again, did not read the book, my understanding is that in the book, these guys are slightly younger. They're teens, like 16, 17, and here they feel like they're 18, 19. Doesn't seem like that's much of a difference, but at least here they are adults, where they're teens. And I think just the concept of shooting teens feels worse than the idea that, hey, we are at least pretending that these adults have the option to go into this, versus kids who are kind of like drafted into it. But again, now that I've seen this, I do want to actively read this book, because, again, like The Running Man, which I don't think the current version that is being made is going to be as heady as the Running Man book is, now that I've seen sort of how the trailers and everything are being made for that. Which sucks, because I think that book also has a lot of weight. And the ending of this, and I feel like the ending of all these Bachman books, kind of have this hopelessness to it, where it don't always end on a happy note. And for me, that makes just for great film and books and television. And so I'm okay that everything doesn't end up in a bow. I'm perfectly fine with that. But that can sort of probably take people from being completely engulfed and loving this movie to being like, you lost me in that last piece. What I do love, and before I give my rating, what I do love also is that this movie plays like a play. And yes, you have all of these actors and they start going one by one, but the set is them walking. Everybody else that's around it is almost like a non-playable character. Like, they exist, but they exist sort of in the background. You and your only other two actors that really come into their orbit are Mark Hamill as the Major and Judy Greer as Garrity's mom. And Garrity's mom is more so to give him a humanity piece from the start and connect his story, and bridge him in. And let me say this: I kind of joked at the beginning, Judy Greer whenever you see her in something, she is giving 1000%. And even if it's a little bit piece, she kills it every single time. Like, you immediately feel the weight of what this walk is just by the first 5 minutes of this movie, by the way that she is acting, dropping off her son to the long walk. And then Major is the a-hole, the antagonist, and everybody sort of knows that this exists because of the regime that he has sort of put on. But yeah, on my scale of play it again, Sam, I didn't mind that. Once is enough, or give me a time stone so I never have to think about this film again. This is a play it again, Sam. This is going to go down as one of my top 10 films of the year because if nothing else, it's a film that sat with me. Like, I slept on it. Like, I still feel this movie in my bones far after I have seen it. And I think if you can get by what's happening in the world and treat this as a film, as a movie, as opposed to connecting it to what's going on in the real world, I think you'll have a good enjoyment with this and just see a great character piece and character study of men of different walks of life, men of different orientations, which again, I'm going to read the book. My understanding is that the book has a little bit more racial undertones and homophobic and sexual undertones than the movie does. It's there, but I think they're more of a brotherhood in this, and that is less of an issue, although it does come up a couple of times in this movie. But yeah, uh, seeing a bunch of young male actors together on screen giving just phenomenal performances, and it's something that's so gut wrenching is a chef's kiss. So bravo to all involved in making this movie. I think you should get to the theaters immediately to try and check out The Long Walk. What did you guys think about the film? If you've seen it, go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. I believe this week we will be talking about Spinal Tap and Spinal Tap 2. Like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.